Hello, I'm Dion Mundy. I'm a scientist with plant and food research and I work on diseases of grapes here in Marlborough. I grew up in Canterbury and went to Canterbury University where I did my BSc and my MSc and decided I wanted to work in science. And having grown up in a vineyard, was really keen to work in the industry as well, and so I got my perfect job here at Plant and Food 12 and a half years ago. Currently I have two focuses of my work: the seasonal diseases, so the rots that we get during the year, and the longer term diseases, the trunk diseases. Our major disease for grapes during the year is botrytis, and here we have some tendrils that we're looking at to see how many spores actually overwinter on this material and what the risk is to the industry. And if we took that off, it would end up growing on plates and looking like this. The other work is with rotting bits of wood. This once was a grapevine stump, and from this fungal spores can move, get into new wounds and infect the vines. And so when we do studies where we actually want to collect those spores, we get a nice piece of wood like this. We let the spores come out. When we wet the wood, we collect them in the container, and then we use those to infect new vines. So a few vines die so that a few more might live as we understand more about how these fungal diseases work and how they infect and how we can protect them. The work that we're doing on the grapevine trunk diseases is really exciting as we're working with the industry in Hawke's Bay and here in Marlborough and around the whole country. And we have the potential to make those vines that are in the ground survive longer so they can produce lovely wine. So we're working with the growers. Some of them have very little background or knowledge on trunk diseases, so there's a lot of education there. And then other growers are quite experienced and they're looking for new solutions. They want to know what the best way of controlling the diseases, how to manage them, what the international information is. So we've got collaborations with people in South Australia and in California and Davis, and working really hard to supply our growers with the best options they can have so they can continue to produce the best wines. And it's really, really great to see our work making a difference to what the industry does. I think for me, one of the greatest things that I've seen in the 12 and a half years that I've been here is that some of the research that we've been involved in has actually changed industry practice. So some of the things that were happening before were good, but now they're really sustainable, they are the best practice. When I was a child, I always asked questions, and in fact my parents were really keen to send me to school so I could ask the teachers questions instead of bugging them. And so my family said it was never a surprise when I ended up as a scientist because I get paid to ask questions all day. In fact, my wife said that even if I didn't get paid, I'd probably still go to work if I could because I enjoy the job so much. So I think I've always been destined to be a scientist. I enjoy the work. I particularly enjoy working with an industry that is responsive and takes up the research, and the great chance to meet people around the world and make a difference to what they're doing in the wine industry and in the science. It's exciting. It's got me hooked, and I hope that enthusiasm is something that I convey when I talk about my work and when I teach.